It is time to talk tactics with Ross the Boss, thanks to PointsBet. And Ross, massive game tomorrow night. It is the Giants and the Blues. See, 9th and 12th on the ladder. And how is the way the Giants moved the footy last week? It was very different to what we've seen previously.
Well, we've been spoken about it previously. They've been struggling to transition the ball from defence to attack. But the stationing of Whitfield, that a lot of people have recognised, they went from 18th in the comp to number 1 on the weekend. So we look at the ball movement, the ability of Whitfield to run and then deliver it and find the free play was much improved. They took it on. I don't like that term that much, but they, rather than going back over the mark down the line, they actually went, hit up some leading targets and got the overlap. Here you are. Whitfield there's put 20 metres on the Dockers forwards. He hits up a little bit of luck there, but you can see the runners, the overlap. Rather than slow the game, they've disrupted the Dockers' defence, and then they go forward and ultimately they'll kick a goal here. So what I watched last week against Carlton, Collingwood played like that. They moved the ball on short kicks, overlap run, out of defence, and they really pulled the Carlton, we'll have a look at it now, they pulled the Carlton defence apart, Collingwood. So if we look at this clip, if they keep going down this path, so really Collingwood were able to disrupt the Carlton defence through the corridor, and they did this numerous times and they scored really well off turnover. So the question, or my concern is, are Carlton going to be able to handle the run of GWS and the overlap of Whitfield out of the back half? I think it's a key area in the outcome of the game.
So on the Giants then, Ross, how does it, everyone's been crying out for this all year, and when they play like that, they can do anything, the Giants. Where does it stem from?
Well, they can't. Well, Whitfield goes to half-back. The coach plants a simple message. But with respect, the Dockers, although they've been defending really well, aren't really what Carlton are. Although Carlton all year have been 12th defensively. So they need to tighten that up. I think they'll have their hands full with the run. The ball comes in, does the job. We can get to those things.
And the Blues need to improve their scoring, Ross. You picked up a drop-off since the first 6 rounds to where we've got to of late.
What we loved about Teague and the club was we want to be an attacking, play attractive game of footy. Defence, yeah, it's okay. We'll sit around 10 or 12. But they have dropped off. You can see from round 1 to 6, 4th in the comp, 2 goals a week, basically, down to 10th. That's got to be their focus because I don't think they can tighten their defence that quickly, but they can get back to their attack. I think McGovern comes in, Pitnet stays in. They've got Casbolt, they've got McKay, but their midfield's got to get to work.
Yeah. On that midfield, how about Patrick Cripps and the dominance of Cripps and 3 other midfielders, Ross? You need more guys going through there, you think?
Yeah, I think that what their greatest strength is their greatest weakness. If Cripps, Setterfield and Curnow don't get it done with Murphy, there's not enough variety. That's just centre square bounce attendance. You can see the percentage. Martin's the next at 26%. Last week, I don't think he went in. So my concern is the ball goes to Cripps, like he went to Fife, knocks him over. Coaching panels have a what-if meeting the day before the game, and they go through all the scenarios. I would like to think Johnny Barker and Teague, what if the ball's getting hold of Cripps? What are we going to do? Who's going to go in? Is it going to be Martin go in? Does Walsh come in from the wing? Petrevski-Seaton, can he run through
Would you ever start Cripps at full forward just to throw De Boer out, or is that taking away from him?
Yeah, I think you can, but you don't want to concede defeat. But I think what he can do is a bit like Fife. OK, Matty, come to the goal square, see if you want to defend. And Matty will probably hand over to another defender, and then all of a sudden Cripps got a bit of freedom to drift back up in the midfield. But it's a key battle.
Cripps is a little bit sore, hurt his knee last week. Do you give the Blues any chance in this one, Ross?
Well, I think it's short. Well, they're both off short breaks. I think Cripps a little bit sore. GWS with their confidence up in their run and their overlap, I think get it done.
Yeah, I think the game of the round is Brisbane Lions and the Collingwood Football Club. Should be absolutely sensational. A lot at stake, 3rd versus 6th. And I looked at the midfield matchups of this and something jumped out at me, the depth of the Brisbane Lions through that midfield. And I know the Pies have got Adam Treloar, De Goey, Sidebottom, so quality players out. And I look at that bottom end, goes pretty deep, Brisbane. So big task for Elliott to go the full game. Tyler Brown, Phillips, those types.
I think you made a really good point. McCluggage and Berry on the outside are just really elite and high class. But Elliott last week, 18 possessions in the first half, really stood up. Can you do it again? Can you do it against quality? And Phillips on the wing found some form. He was really important in their grand final year. So I think Adam's second half really turned the game. He was really BOG from half time. But they're going to have to get some more depth and stand up through there and run some more players through there. Otherwise, the class will get them. But again, Pendlebury, what he did to Cripps last week, just leadership stamped all over him. Sacrificed his own game at the stoppage, took Cripps out of it, and then spread off him and really influenced the game. So I think he's a good opportunity to go to Neil. Neil, great stoppage play. Do the same thing and lead from the front, knock over Neil, influence the game and drag your team across the line.
Ross, you've picked up on an area where the Lions need to improve with layoff players inside their forward 50.
Yeah, certainly. There's some criticism of Hipwood, not a big, strong physical player. McStay, doesn't bring it to ground as much as like. So you can see the roll-off defence. They're going to have to deal with Moore like they did with Vlastuin the week before. Moore's a dominant player, Roughhead as well, but Moore's the big one. Can they bring it to ground to bring their smalls in? I'm not sure they can. If they can't handle Moore, they're going to struggle to get across the line.
Harris Andrews, one of the best defenders in the game. We know he is. And then Mason Cox is finding some form. How do you feel about this battle?
An absolute P. It's the same battle at the other end of the ground. But what I like, Cox come in, brought it to ground on Jones, brought the crummers in Thomas, soft drop goal, brings it down, beautiful front and square. But if Andrews is marking them, there's no goals for Thomas. And then late in the game, he really found some form. But again, you did it against Jones. Can you do it against the increase in quality against Andrews? That's the real key battles.
And I think their backline's flying, Brisbane, their midfield's flying, but this is the issue for them. So they score, number one, every time going inside 50, they score. But it's their accuracy that hurts them. They're scoring a lot of points, not a lot of goals. So they score when they get it in, but they're ranked 18th for accuracy. And the Pies, they're ranked in the middle for both areas.
Well, it's a real issue, which you have spoken about Brisbane. We talk about the monkey on the shoulder, but you call it a...
Gorilla.
Yeah, it's a gorilla on the shoulder. So they need to address it. Yeah. There's 2 probably points. Brisbane off the bye, coming fresh, so Collingwood. But Brisbane struggled to defend running overlap football that Collingwood were dishing up the week before. So I think if Collingwood can get the flow in the game, disrupt the Brisbane defence, Pendlebury can knock over Neil, they can get it done.
A positive for Brisbane is the fact they're winning without the form of Charlie Cameron, where they've relied on him. But I just think this stat here, his last month, he's had the knee injury, but it's time for Charlie to lift. He's played with poor body language at times through this injury as well, Ross. So it's a big occasion for him as well.
It's an interesting phase. We all thought he was the most dominant small forward in the game and the most exciting player. Really simply, he's kicked 20 goals in the first 10 rounds and he's kicked 2 in the last 4. So gone from 2 goals a week to a half. They need him to find some form and some hunger, if that's what it is, and to help get him across the line.
I like Brisbane, Ross. Who do you like in this one?
I like Collingwood. If they can get the flow on the game and disrupt the Brisbane defence, they win.